My whole thing is, hit it and quit it, baby. Yeah. Get in, get out.
Okay, let's begin. Look at what they published. Look at what they expect us to write. I just want to rub their noses in it.
To create My Pathology, the book that Monk finally finds some financial success with, he has to give in to his anger and spite to create something that touches a nerve, but not really the nerve he wanted to touch, right?
Exactly.
Have you ever given in to those negative emotions to create your own art? Is that something that you could connect to on any level?
Who?
I don't know that he gave into his negative emotions. Honestly, he didn't give in. He was like making a comment.
Right.
And then it was received.
Yeah. He did not think anything was going to come
he
up.
was like,
He just
really?
wanted to get it out.
Yeah, like, okay, so let me play this game.
We sold a book. No.
We believe Mr. Lee has written a bestseller.
It's a joke.
The most lucrative joke you've ever told.
He's a curmudgeon, certainly, and he's got sharp elbows. But what humanizes him is that he's got a mother who's ailing, he's got a family that's kind of crumbling around him, and he's asked to be the adult in the room, and he's asked to make certain sacrifices, whether they be personal, creative, or professional, and he does. Everyone will have their take on what his motivations are. I've heard people say, he's hypocritical, or he's making some other type of nefarious choice, but I think he's flawed, certainly, and he has responsibilities, I think, that trump his needs for self, which is kind of interesting. Kind of interesting, I find.
In film and television, I really sort of tried to stick to my guns and say, I don't want to write slave stuff. I don't really want to write stories about drug dealers. I don't want to write stuff about gang members. I'm not saying that these stories aren't important. I think particularly in a country in which people are actively trying to write slavery out of the history books, that it's important to sort of maintain these narratives and remind people that this is a part of our history. That being said, I didn't want those to be the only kinds of stories that I could tell. And so I really sort of tried to stay away from that kind of stuff, but it still follows me. 3 months before I found this novel that I adapted, Erasure, I got a note from an executive about a script that I'd written that asked me to make a character blacker. And sort of, when I responded, well, what does blacker mean? That note went away because that person realized that they were about to say something deeply embarrassing, right? So these kinds of issues keep popping up in my life. I've just been doing my best to kind of avoid them as best as possible.
Is this based on your actual life?
Yeah, you think some college boy can come up with that?
No, I don't.
I've given into emotions, but they weren't necessarily negative. They were frustrated. And it helped me create different types of art, or at least make me feel like I had to, or I would not be able to be in this world and be happy. And really, this is really about happiness, you know what I mean? He's lived a long time. He could go his whole life maybe not having the type of popular success and still feel like he's given something to the world because, people say, well, it's a work of art and it'll have its own life. No, he wants the popular success. He's sitting up there looking at the Issa Rae character and wanting a piece of what she has, wanting to know what that feels like when people applaud and say you've done well. What is he willing to do in order to get it? So I've done that. Luckily, I haven't had to become a different version of myself, but I've certainly had to conform and go through filters in order to be successful.
I know a lot of actors that work from different places. I personally work from joy and how does this person love. But I actually, the better I feel, regardless of what the character is going through, the more of myself I can give to the work.
Wish I could go back to not selling books.
Is it bad to cater to people's tastes?
People want to love you, Monk. You should let them love all of you.
I lean into where is that part of me in that character, and where is the humanity of this person? Who are they in the world, and what are they trying to get? Because truthfully, that's the way people operate.
Yeah.
It's not always, and then obviously I'm similar to you. It's from a place of joy, that sense of light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard there was a lot of joy on set. I heard that you call Jeffrey Wright a laugher on set.
He's a giggler.
You were able to get him to break pretty often on set. Is there a surefire way to get him to break?
No, we were just having fun with each other. We had a ball together. I enjoy working with talented people, and he is one of the most talented.
Pretty good.
And it didn't feel like work. It just felt like we were playing. I love the way he kind of He like burrows. I don't know how, he sort of, he like burrows into a thing and layers in there. Like he wants to do it again and get back in, you know? And it was really fun to be in play with a burrower.
I feel like I got him to laugh a couple of times too.
He's also a laugher. I just didn't know that about him.
Yeah. He's fun.
He's fun. Yeah.
He seems, a very serious approach to it, but that's interesting. It's that he's burrowed.
He is a thoughtful and mindful person.
For sure.
I don't know that he is a serious person.
Interesting.
I think he comes.
I hear you.
Serious.
That's a good distinction.
But I don't know. Like when you're with him, he's not a heavy, serious person. He's just really thoughtful.
Yeah.
He's funny.
He's not funny.
No, not ha-ha funny. Like sad funny.
The things that really elicit laughter from Jeffrey is when you talk about politics and sports. Those really get him going. And also surfing. He's a pretty big jock. This is a thing you might not realize about Jeffrey. He was a lacrosse player in college. He's an avid surfer now. And I would say the best at getting him to laugh is probably Tracee.
Is there a surefire way to get you to break when you're performing?
Yeah, you be Tracee Ellis Ross. She is so funny and so unpredictable. She's just super bad, and we had a ball.
That was hilarious.
Likewise, Sterling K. Brown plays my brother. He's just a walking menace in this film. He's that younger brother. And Leslie Uggams, the one and only, as our mom, and a woman named Myra Lucretia Taylor playing the woman who's been caretaker to the household since we were children. She's wonderful. It was just a great familial energy on set, and this beautiful portrait of a family like anyone's family who happened to be black folks. It felt super good.
This is remarkably your first film.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge that you saw going into it?
I think the biggest challenge for me was working with actors. I'd been a TV writer for several years, and so I felt very comfortable with the script and the language and stuff like that. But I really had a limited time working with actors, and so creating characters and building that narrative with them was probably the most different thing. I think that it was challenging, but what made it less challenging is that I worked with such tremendous actors who were super collaborative, from Jeffrey on down. These are Tony Award winners, these are multiple Emmy Award winners. I was intimidated, but the thing that I realized was that the reason that they're so successful is because they're open to collaboration, because they want to really work with everybody to find the character. From the moment Jeffrey was on set, he wasn't just working with me, he was working with the costume designer to sort of talk about what the character is going to be. He's working with the production designer to talk about what the character is going to be. He was just really, really open to building this world and to finding exactly who Monk was. And so that to me was really beautiful.
He felt like a seasoned pro. I think he knew this story so well. And it wasn't that big of a leap of faith, because when we got on set, he was in control. Sets can be chaotic. You get to the end of 12 hours or whatnot, and there's still pickups or whatnot. He never flipped. He was like, all right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna get that, and if we have to cut, we have to go and we'll bring it to the next day. And that sort of energy that he was able to create was able to pass down throughout the crew, throughout the cast.
It was a really...
And we got to be cool.
Yeah. He has an ability to trust his actors and give them space. He knows what he wants, but he also has no ego around allowing the space for magic to happen.
Yeah.
And the thing about Cord is he knows who he is, and he knows who he is without ego. He's like a seasoned human, which allows him to be a really seasoned director, even though he wasn't. He's like a good guy.
Yeah.
That isn't trying to get something out of life, but to share something with it. Yeah.
Cord's really sharp. He drew a sharp script, smartly satirical. The social commentary is really fluent and on point. This conversation around race, identity, and culture. I think it's rare in our society, sadly, to have that kind of fluency, and he does. And he put together a team and a crew that really had his back. I wanted to make sure that Cord knew that, I was going to help him drive the train. Because, it takes a while to understand where the levers are, where the buttons are to push on a film set. So I think we were all very, protective of him. We had 25, 26 days to shoot this film. We were an independent film, shooting up in Boston. And, there's no room for a lot of nonsense. My whole thing is, hit it and quit it, baby. Get in, get out. drive that train. No time for the